Today, we're looking at the A-frame cabin. Lego Ideas number 046. This is set number 21338 with 2,082 pieces. Designed for 18 plus. This is from their Ideas line. I've really liked this cabin ever since I saw it. I'm not entirely sure why, but all right, taking a look at the back, we get a small wooded section where your canoe could, dock. You get a brief look at the interior of the cabin, a bit of the outside, which is actually surprisingly realistic. The little section for the latrine is a little odd. It's an odd addition. Although maybe it's supposed to be a shower. Maybe it is a towel and a shower. I don't know why there's the shovel there. The shovel there makes me think it's a latrine, or for a latrine. Then you get a little gas connection or electric connection and gas canister with the generator maybe. Oh, you get a few little, like squirrel and otter. Overall, just really like the look of this set. Really looking forward to putting it together. So I will catch you when it is assembled. So I've built the A-frame cabin. So first off, very nice build, very fun. I like how the trees go together, although the leaves are a little tedious to put together, but it turns out quite nice looking. 4 minifigures in this set, a few small animals, and then some very nice info in the booklets, 2 booklets. But what I wanted to point out in the booklets is, very nice write-up on the, background for the cabin, the inspiration, the fan designer. It's very nicely done. I just wanted to point that out. It's in the first booklet. And then you get several 100 pages of instructions. I think probably 200-300 pages, somewhere in there, total between the 2 booklets. Probably closer to 200 pages. But very, very nice booklets. And very nice discussion on the cabin itself. So we'll start off with looking at the minifigures. So you get 4 minifigures in this. 2 with hiking boot style legs. Pants into boots, jacket, backpack. There's some back printing on this one as well. Helps if I don't drop things here. Just taking all the parts off. So some back printing on here if you decide to have him without the backpack, and you could swap the legs around between them. There's also dual printing on the head. One where it's a slight smile and the other where it's more laughter-ish. And then also a nice little hairpiece. So for these, I put him and this woman in the canoe. She also has hiking boots for the pants. And again, you could swap these with any of the minifigures. Some back printing, a little bag attachment, and then also the dual-sided face. And I've just decided to put them in the canoe. There is also, that is one downside to this, which I will discuss shortly. But we'll finish with the minifigures first. Also back printing here, 2 different faces. Again, no boots printed on the legs here, but you could mix and match most of these parts pretty well. I will say the one downside with this hairpiece is it doesn't extend quite low enough. You may not be able to... as I don't know if you can see it, but the line from the bottom of the mouth there extends a little just below the hairline, which is just really disappointing. But I don't expect I'll see it very often, so it's not a huge deal. This one doesn't have quite the same problem. The hair extends a little lower. 2 faces on this minifigure as well, both with glasses. One smiling and the other... One with a wide smile, the other with a more soft smile. Nice little hair bun piece. And a dual printed jacket. Or sweater, in this case. So we'll start with the main cabin, I think. Actually, no, we will start with the 3 side pieces. So, there are 3 different side pieces. One has 2 trees, a little river section here, which goes together quite nicely, some little plants, an otter, and a frog, as well as some small mushrooms, and then some, I believe these are supposed to be lampposts. Let's see if we can't get a better angle for that. Probably either lampposts or moorings for the canoe. You also get a little basket or crate, which I have put the life jackets, and then there's a built-in little water bottle like thing that goes in there as well, and then several little mushroom pieces, and then there's also a bucket here where you could display. This is a bucket. Yeah, here we go. There's the bucket where you can put the oars if you don't have anyone in the canoe. Several very nice pieces for the leaves. You get 3 different colors of the trees. And then you have this little pin here, which allows it to attach to the side of the cabin, more towards the back. And then we have this other one, the other half here, where you get kind of a firewood storage. So you've got logs in there, so that can go on the fire in the cabin. Little roof segment. A small butterfly in the tree, and in the other tree there's also both a red one of these and then this blue one here for in the tree. And that's pretty much this small one. Some little plant features on the sides, which I think are quite a nice touch. A couple butterflies in this build. There's 2 different ones, 2 different printings on those butterflies. And we'll set those aside for right now, and then we'll look at the front steps. So you get a little squirrel animal here as well. And there's also a frog underneath the steps here, and some mushrooms along the sides. I really like these mushrooms. They go together really nicely. They're just basically 2 pieces. Although I don't know if they come apart very nicely because, yes, they do. They're basically just these little goblet pieces, almost, or bowl pieces, just onto a beige stud, and it goes together really well. I really like it. And then you get a little like sprouting mushroom by just a green stud piece on a beige stud, which I think is pretty cool. There's some steps, and then we come to the cabin, the main of the build. So normally I'd start with the back and then the front, and then we go to the interior. However, because of the way the roof sits on the cabin, that's not possible. There's no studs. It just stays by friction. So you have these blocks here that help catch the cabin wall on roof on the top of this segment here, and that's true for both sides. One thing I would have liked is a little something to even just set here that would kind of help this stay together a little more. As if you bump it, they sometimes fall off, but not too much. It's if you're putting it up for display, it really shouldn't be a problem, but there might be an issue if it's on something that shakes a little bit, or if you walk into it or something, unthinkingly. And then each sign has 2 of these sets of 4 windows, which I think is quite nice, and that's topped by basically 2 wooden planks that just kind of differentiate it from the rest. I'm going to set those off to the side here, and then we'll look at the rest of this. And it does come further apart into 2 halves for playability, if you wanted to pose figures, get a closer look at things. So we'll start with the front here, the front of the build. You get a little butterfly thing here. You can put it on the other side if you want. That's the other print. The first print I showed was more of a brown. This is more of a purple. Nice little add-in. Actually, you can see the other one. You can see the other one up here. So you get 2 little clear studs for the lights. I think that does help. It kind of breaks it up just enough. And then you build this front section with basically a bunch of little hammers that kind of go together. It's really clever the way they build it. Really enjoyed that. And then additionally here on the front porch, you have a nice little chair where you make these little handrails with whips, actually. They probably came from an Indiana Jones set originally, or that was what they were originally designed for, but they work really well as just making this little front deck chair, a little burner with a stove. There's a little egg piece, which I think I have one over here. There's a little well, you won't be able to see that, so that's no good. There's a little fried egg piece that can go in the skillet. I don't tend to leave it in there because it just falls out, and you get a couple extras, but it's a little inconvenient when it falls out. And then we'll go to the interior of the cabin now. So you get some basically landing for the upstairs. 2 chairs. It's a little cramped in here, but considering the type of cabin it is and the size, it makes sense. And especially when it's converted to Lego, it makes perfect sense. It does feel a little cramped, but overall, I really do like it. This is probably one of my favorite builds I've done so far. And you get a couple little gem pieces here, which are quite nice. I have not seen these pieces in years. They used to use them for some sort of laser gun, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was some sort of underwater Atlantis-esque set from the old Disney. I think it was Disney Atlantis movie. It wasn't Disney, maybe it was Pixar. But if anyone's seen that, that's quite fun to watch. It just reminds me of those. I could have sworn there were a few sets or similar typed themes that used those a lot. So on the inside, the one other piece I want to point out before we continue on the inside, you get this really cool geode piece where it's got some purple crystal showing through on the back there, and it's just a geode. And I just thought that was a really cool piece they included as just a little knickknack in the cabin. So you get a small little bookcase with some records in it, and a little record player, gas gauges for some stuff, or wind gauges, temperature maybe. A little kitchenette. So you can see a small pile of logs right there, which feed this wooden stove or heater. Just a really nice touch. I really like how it goes in, and it really just fits the theme of the cabin. I really like it. You've also got a little writing desk with a typewriter and a lamp, little bench that's kind of half tucked underneath, some tea, newspaper. Really nice. A small umbrella for if it rains, and an extra water bottle, guitar for, camping nights. That could be really good. Little Lego welcome map in there. A printed display piece for the cabin. Just overall really nice. And then on the back, you also have a few extra things. So you have the pipe for the wooden stove coming out the top, a little shower section, shower nozzle, shower head, either a towel or paper towels. Given the shovel, it's probably paper towels for a latrine. And then I think this is a water heater, and then a little bit of gas for power to the cabin. And that's pretty much the back here. Oh, and then the steps also just attached by these 2 little clips. Forgot to mention that. Since we're still on the ground floor, I'll mention it now. There's also this little magnifying bit that comes with it, but I find it just got loose and floated around and was kind of annoying. However, then we go to the upstairs where you get a little bedroom with a camera. This can be held. It's got a little handhold here for where a minifigure could grab it, so you could have them going out for a nature hunt if you were looking to do something like that, or building a bigger forester section or something. Little chest of drawers, the usual things you'd find in a bedroom, some binoculars, a painting on the top there. The rest of the stovepipe, just really like how that goes on. I really think it brings the cabin well together. Then you get like a little play set, kind of like it might be a child's room, or there might be a kid who's sleeping there as well with their parents on, a vacation out to the cabin in the woods. And then you also have just a little spider tucked up here in the rafters of the building. Just overall a very nice build. Really enjoyed putting this together. It went together really well, other than when I dropped it, because I picked it up by the top and it held just enough for me to take it off the table, and then I had to put it back together. That was a little less fun. Quite nice build, quite nice little features in here, so you could definitely have figures set up kind of in various places, take a look at it, and I just really like it on the desk for display. Just goes really well, I think. So you have these little blue studs on the side of the building, and one thing you can do is just slide, make sure I line it up correctly, this thing, and then it's not locked because it's not the clip side, but it's the toothed side, or lock side of those little socket for the Technic pins. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not actually sure what that piece is formally called, but if you know, please let me know in the comments below. And then the other tree hooks onto the back as well. So you do kind of get this very nice, attached one thing assembled, or you could have it like I had at the beginning, where you make a little island out of where the trees are and the cabin stands by itself. There we have it. The A-frame cabin. I had a really fun time building this. I hope if you decide to build this or have already built this that you have or had as much fun as I did putting it together. I really enjoyed this set. Really liked the trees. It's a very clever way of getting these trees together that isn't just blocks, but really does look pretty nice when it's all assembled. That's all for today. Catch you next time.